My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise-canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Well, the last time around we left off without getting around to carving any on the Dachshunds, so we might start out kind of taking care of that. There's certain steps you can see I've already kind of taken on them, but I'd say yes, for now we can kind of get around to kind of removing a little bit more wood off of their backs here. And I say that this is going to be wonderful little work we have in our hands, and all it's just going to be is just kind of what we see, what we do. Oh, I tell y'all, and little dogs just kind of can make a little day or two for us. I tell you, I think this wood might be kind of tough for some of these knives, so might kind of get a better knife. This is probably the one out of all the knives I have that carves the best of them all. And with a little extra work and help, kind of try to get a little ways done into the piece. And so I say that it's just kind of time when we just make these little carving marks as we need. And I say just put in a place where we're going to kind of make a little slit for where its tail is in the back, and kind of try to make a little way along that line, and just I say kind of like work around and put little times of work into what we have and do. I think I'm going to try to make out the little tail here, and I'd say that you kind of have to chip it off a little bit like this on the end. Let me show you all where it is. It's right here, and kind of make it so we can just put the little cut in the back in the place about where the tail goes. And I say work along fine to get a little bit of extra work and extra deal out of what we are trying to make. I say that this is just the little fashion we have in all the things we like to make and do and say and work on. And in a little project like this, we got little bitty ways to go. And I say that this is just where we will kind of work along all the more. I think with these steps I just took on this mahogany one, I'd like to take the same steps on the walnut one too, so we'll get right back around to that sooner or later. And that's what's right here is the one made from walnut. I think the walnut in this case might be a little bit harder than the mahogany, so kind of going a little bit further down along the back like we ought to do, and show enough, a little bit of support for the pup, I say, and make it down to where we're just working the lines in, making it so it's almost like a good little dachshund, I say, and I mean, I tell y'all a little story about a time when I was out at some event, and I forget exactly who this lady was, or exactly her name or something, but she had something or another. It was called Dachshund Debs, and I forget exactly what her product was, but I know that she loved dachshunds so much that that was kind of the reason why she went by that name. And I'd say at some of these good old events, we met a lot of wonderful people in those places and learned a lot of good things about all these people. And we kind of learn over time that these people, I mean, they may not always follow you in life. They may not always keep up with you. They may not always be your friends on earth, but I feel like there are those who we are guaranteed are going to be with us in eternity in heaven and in the New Jerusalem, when there's a new heavens and a new earth. And that's what I like to think and see. And I'd say that all we know is that dachshunds were always such great dogs. I mean, even when I was a kid, I used to look through an old dictionary I had. It was originally my father's dictionary, but it became a hand-me-down after he got another new one. Of course, that one, it got so old and raggedy and worn out that it had to be thrown away as it became trash, but that was probably one of the first places I ever saw the name dachshund, was in that dictionary. I didn't know I saw how it was spelt, but I didn't know how it was pronounced. Probably when I got a little bit older and went into a certain ballpark where I worked, where they would have bark in the park night, where people would bring their dogs. I would kind of go around just asking people about all the different dog breeds they had, and somebody would mention theirs was a dachshund, and that was just kind of, I'd say for me, how I got familiar with how the name was pronounced. And sometimes dachshunds are also called little wiener dogs because they kind of have a special type of long shape that makes them like that. I say that it's just kind of where we get the little extra work made. I'm kind of working on a little thing where we just put a little time and effort into pieces, make them what they're going to be. I say this little dachshund is here, and it's a good character of a dog. Oh, all the things we make of it, I say, and oh, the love we put into our work. You know, there are pets out there, they will remember you just for who you are. There are those who come to know you as their good and faithful owners and love you for who you are and what you do, and it'll just always to them will mean so much that you reach out and do special things to take care of them and live their lives for them. And I say there's some of them, no matter how grown they get, they might not be a wild breed, so they got a long way to go. Kind of worked along the back of the legs here and kind of narrowed down a little bit of sides or corners on the tail. Going to come along this one and try to make the same little ways that we go about doing little things we do. And I say make it so the puppy is going to be just what it comes down to being when it's just the shape and size we're going to need for it to be. And so I say that this is just some kind of work that's going to make its way into trend, kind of put it up and kind of work a way along, make it so it just going to kind of like be little ways we work about things, I say, and kind of come back around and, like we did with the last one, move some wood along the back, make the back probably a little bit more slender as it ought to be, and come down to where we'll see a good shape for a little wiener puppy, and down to where we can kind of get rid of all that's on the back of the head and remove a little bit of excess wood from around the thing, and kind of, I say, like get down to where we shall work on just the things we have and the things we do. I say that this is just kind of the thing we have to work on these days. God is always good to us in many ways and shows us all the creatures he makes for his kingdom, and you know, they all belong to him. We know that there was once a Garden of Eden that had all the critters in it, and that time none of them ate meat, they all just ate plants. None of them were vicious, none of them were too shy or ran away or got too afraid of a human. But we know that I even kind of read some book where it was based on Bible stories and talked about how the animals were no longer the same way to Adam and Eve after they ate the forbidden fruit. Lions and tigers would growl at them and all the little animals would run from them. So it was kind of in that little place there where, you know, animals hadn't started eating meat yet, but they probably did start kind of getting a little bit more vicious to humans when it came to that point. Because there's a lot of things in this world that happen because sin brings it into the world. And I say, you know, we're all entitled to our own beliefs. We're all entitled to post what we like to our own channels. But I say, you know, any of you, if you think I'm brainwashing your kids by telling them the Bible, I mean, that's good and okay, because I say you're entitled to your opinion, and for all that I get on here and do, I just tell you all that it's what I believe. I believe the Bible. So I say at this time, this might be just ending a little bit early here, but we kind of took a lot of work going into these pieces of Dachshund here and going about this time very gradually and pertainly. And with all the things, I must say, I'm all covered in chips for one thing, and I might even introduce to you all at this moment another thing I'd like to work on. I will tell you all about certain scraps I had after cutting out certain blanks that came out shaped like this and were carved into these little tall horses here. Might end up coming up with a name for them like tall boy horses or something like that. Whenever I do a video on that, I'll explain that name. But then there were a couple more scraps that I decided to cut out the same shape and draw the same lines into from a little pattern like that I had made. And whoa, I say that this is just one of those ways that we look into the world, see brighter things and brighter days and all the things we want to do. And though this video might be a minute shorter than the last, I appreciate you coming on and watching. Hope to share more, hope to say more, and pray that you will always be available to hear, to see, and to, most of all, stay in touch. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.